Hey guys, and welcome to episode 2 of GDX. My name's Chris, and with me tonight is Kaleb.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's going on, K-Train?
Not too much. Just keeping busy with work, playing a lot of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah?
Not, yeah, little bit of Red Dead 2, but not as much as I might like.
Yeah, me either. I played a little
Yeah,
bit of Red Dead, but nowhere near as much as I'd like to be playing Red Dead.
Chris's console shit itself, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sounded like an airplane was about to take off, and that was that.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, really. So he is, I guess, without a console for. Well, you got to switch. You got to switch
Yep,
at
I've
least.
been playing lots of Diablo.
Diablo's cool. How is Diablo on Switch? I heard good things about it.
It's Diablo, but in my hand. It's
Which
amazing.
which isn't a bad thing at all.
No, because I love Diablo. I've now purchased this game on every system that you could possibly purchase this game on.
Oh wow.
I think I've purchased Diablo 3 more times than Borderlands 2. Maybe.
Have you really? Oh my gosh.
I may have. Because Diablo, let's see. I bought Diablo on PC, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS4, and now Switch.
Damn. Okay.
And I've bought Borderlands on PS3, Xbox 360, PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Oh my god. That's a little too
Oh,
much Diablo for me,
and
but
Vita, and Vita.
and
So
and
I've
Vita.
so I've bought in Borderlands 2 the same amount of times as I've bought in Diablo 3.
Okay. Wow. And somehow I feel like that's not outside of the norm for some people and their love of Diablo. But
Well, I wanted to play it on the go. So
yeah.
that was the big thing for me, and that was the selling point. Like like if I go to the doctor, and I'm waiting in the waiting room because I go to lots of doctor's appointments, I can play Diablo.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it's a game that's like you can just sit there and not think about. Like you don't really have to pay attention to what you're really doing in Diablo, so I can watch TV and do a bunch of other shit while I'm playing. It's just a good time waster.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's
So,
cool. Is there anything different about this one, or is it just Diablo but Portal or but
um,
Portal?
you get a Zelda chicken.
Okay,
You can transmogrify your equipment to make yourself look like Ganondorf,
okay, that's
a-
kind of cool.
and you get Majora's wings. So like the purple, the purple mist that was behind Skull Kid when you fight him on the moon.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get wings that look like that.
okay, it's kind of cool.
It's cool. I hope that they add something more to it, Nintendo-ish. Like I'd like a Goomba level or something along those lines, kind of like they have the Last of Us stuff on the PS4 version.
Um, do they have Last of Us stuff on the PS4 version?
They do, where you fight, where like all the enemies are like clickers and shit.
Oh wow, I actually had not realized that. I have Diablo 3 on the PS4. I haven't actually gotten super far into it, but
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out at some point.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And like
but
me and Dawn play PS4 Diablo, and me and Dawn are now playing Switch Diablo. So
nice.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's cool. But Red Dead is really good. But
So
before we jump
yeah,
into Red Dead, since we're talking Diablo, let's talk about all the whiny gamers about Diablo and Blizzard and BlizzCon.
let's talk about the shit that happened at BlizzCon, which I I don't know. It seems like a mess. I feel like a surprising amount of people are taking the side of the gamers, but I don't really want to get into it. I'll talk about it. It's interesting. Do you want to give us a breakdown of what happened at BlizzCon here, Chris? Do you
Okay,
have a good overview?
so as most people out there know, Blizzard doesn't do E3 or Tokyo Game Show or anything like that. they have like their own. They have their own convention every year. It's called BlizzCon, and the first day is always kind of like Blizzard's press conference for like the coming year or two, and they show stuff off and they announce new stuff there, and it's always a big hubbub, a big thing. New Overwatch characters, new Hearthstone expansion is normally revealed. New cool pets and stuff like WoW information comes out. It's all Blizzard games, except really for Diablo for the past like year. Like last year we didn't get anything Diablo, and the year before that I think was the Necromancer, but nothing the year before that. And this year everybody thought that Blizzard was going to announce Diablo 4. The leakers, that lots of people came out and leaked. They're like, "Oh, Diablo 4 is going to be announced this year at BlizzCon." So far, and people started getting really hyped about it so much that Blizzard came out and said, "We are not announcing Diablo 4. Temper your expectations on the Diablo news that's coming out of BlizzCon." Like, officially came out and said, "Temper your shit."
Yeah. And so what happened after they tempered their shit, Chris?
They didn't temper their shit. Blizzard came out and announced a new mobile game for Diablo, which we know nothing about right now. We know like that it has 6 characters. We don't know if it's free to play. We don't know if it's pay. We don't know anything like that. All we know is that they're starting a beta, but it's called Diablo Immortal. It takes place between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. It's kind of like the in-between. And it's like the internet wants to burn Blizzard down now. Because they didn't announce Blizzard 4, but they announced what everybody's calling a pay-to-win Diablo, or a cash grab, or a quick money grab. Now, this got exasperated because Blizzard decided that they were going to start deleting comments off of their Facebook and off of their YouTube channel. And it was just bad. Because don't forget that the parent company of Blizzard is Activision.
That's true. They aren't always great about these kinds of things from a PR perspective.
They're never great about it. So it was bad, and then it got really bad when comments and shit started getting deleted. And now the internet's on fire with Blizzard is now the worst gaming company of all time.
Yeah. Do you think they're the worst gaming company of all time, or are you just, or is that just your take on the people's perspective of them now?
That is the vocal people on the internet's perspective. I don't think Blizzard's a shitty company. Blizzard makes great games. They're going to continue to make great games. And just because they only announced Diablo Immortal at BlizzCon doesn't mean that Diablo 4 isn't in the works. Like,
yeah,
we know that's being worked on.
Yeah, it seems a little weird to me, from my perspective, whether or not Diablo 4 is coming, which I am sure it will at some point. I can't say when that is, because obviously I'm not working for Blizzard. But just because of how much money Diablo 3 has made and how successful Diablo franchise is, obviously 4 is coming. But to get mad because of a quote-unquote rumor that it was going to be announced, and then for the company to say that it's not going to be announced, and then for them to not announce it at all, and for people to get mad about that is just very baffling to me, and I just don't understand. And maybe I don't understand the details of all of this conversation, but that's kind of my take on it, and it really doesn't look good as gamers.
No, it doesn't look good as gamers. It's one of those things where it sucks. And it's like you can't go online, and I want to talk about the Switch, Diablo 3 on Switch with people online right now, but you can't mention Diablo without people wanting to burn the fucking your face off if you're like, "Oh, Diablo on Switch is actually good." People just lose their fucking minds.
Do they really? I haven't had those conversations. I've just seen people getting aggressively angry at Blizzard for reasons that don't make a lot of sense to me. But I haven't tried to say anything.
It's crazy. And, like, Nintendo must be, like, fucking sucking Blizzard's dick right now because people were going off after the Nintendo Direct when the Grinch leak turned out to be false.
Yeah, which is super weird and confusing to me, and I don't understand.
So for those not in the know, there was this big Super Smash Brothers Ultimate leak. It's called the Grinch leak because you can see promotional stuff for the Grinch behind this screenshot. And it leaked 5 characters. It was Mock Raider, Banjo-Kazooie, the Chorus Kids from Rhythm Heaven, Ken from Street Fighter, and Shadow the Hedgehog. And then there was a Nintendo Direct for Smash Brothers, and come to find out we're only getting 3 more characters for the final roster of Smash, which is Ken, Incineroar, and who's the third?
And the third one was Piranha Plant.
And Piranha Plant. And that's it. That's the main roster for Smash. We'll get 5 DLC characters, and that's the end of it. And people started going off on saying Nintendo doesn't know what they're doing, Sakurai is terrible, Nintendo is shit. And that this went on for like a day until the Blizzard shit happened. And it just makes me feel dirty to be a gamer because it seems like everybody is feels so entitled these days to shit, and it hurts. Like, fucking, they're giving us every other character that's ever been in Smash, plus a handful of new characters, plus 5 DLC characters.
Yeah, and I know this happened just a few months ago when the Smash. Well, it's the quote unquote Waluigi fan base has been doing this after every Nintendo Direct, getting really up in arms that for some reason Waluigi isn't being included in Smash, and all these other characters that were long shots are. I guess I can kind of understand not being happy with that, but like the levels of anger are just kind of ridiculous to me. And so to have people get that much more angry over a leak that was apparently not even a leak, I guess it was just a false rumor. I don't understand, especially when you've got a game that's like, how many fucking characters does Smash Ultimate have? Like 60?
Like 85?
Does it really? See, that's fucking mind-blowing. To have any kind of Nintendo game with that level of characters in this day and age, I mean, it's amazing that we're at that point. But for people to be mad that that's somehow not enough is just totally confusing to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, you want to see Waluigi, and you want, like, I've always wanted to see Geno. 77 characters in Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay. That's still a fuck ton of characters, most of which aren't even, well, I'd say not most, but a good chunk of which aren't even Nintendo characters.
69 different unique fighters, 7 Echo fighters, and 5 DLC characters are going to be the total number. So the total number is going to be 82 characters when all is said and done in this game.
Wow, that's a lot of fucking characters.
And, like, I can understand some of the stuff, like some of the gripe and stuff behind it, like the fact that Link and Toon Link are still one character and it's not an Echo fighter, which would have made more sense to me. Even if they are really different, they play really differently. But like not seeing Geno there still bothers me, and with all the love that Nintendo and Microsoft have been showing for each other lately, I really thought Banjo-Kazooie had a really good shot of hitting being in Smash.
Yeah, I would have been thrilled to see Geno in that game. Like, I mean, I would completely shit myself and lose my mind if I saw that. Banjo-Kazooie, not far behind either, just because that's such a long shot. I can't imagine that ever necessarily happening. I guess it could in the future, but just to be at that point where those kinds of characters are getting introduced. But I'm not necessarily going to get really mad or up in arms that they're not coming, just because of how much they're already doing.
Like, here's what bothered me the most about the Smash announcement. They announced that they're only doing 5 DLC characters, whereas we're still early in the Switch life cycle. I wish that they would have been like, yeah, and we will continue to support content for this game for the next 4 or 5 years. So then maybe we could see Waluigi down the road, or Gino, or somebody like along those lines. Because this is Smash Ultimate. These are every character that's ever been in Smash, plus some new guys. And it would have been great for them to continue to support this game, kind of the way that Rainbow Six Siege has been supported for so long, where they have seasons and new operators come out all the time and stuff like that. The fact that it's only 5 characters and we'll have all 5 characters, I think, by the end of January.
Will we have them by the end of January?
I think that's what they said.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we could see what those characters are. Who knows what it may end up being.
Right.
But yeah, I wonder if they're really going to definitively not support it long term and add more content, because they never said they were ever going to do that with Super Mario Odyssey, and they've been drip feeding shit in that game for a year. I actually was kind of surprised when I saw an article the other day mentioning that it came out a year ago, just because of how long people have been playing it and how much they've been releasing. Like, they've been constantly dropping new costumes and occasionally new game modes here and there. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up doing that with Smash. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. But I guess we'll have to see. I don't know. That's my take on it. Just wait and see who they end up announcing for DLC, and try not to be unhappy with who's already there.
Exactly. That's the big thing, is like, we just need, as a whole, gamers need to calm the fuck down.
Yeah. There's been a lot of things that people have gotten angry about, actually, the past couple weeks in particular, things that I don't know if that people necessarily should. There's been a surprising amount of people online bad-mouthing Red Dead Redemption, actually, if you want to segue into that conversation.
I've seen tons of the backlash for Red Dead Redemption, too.
Yeah, people are, I don't want to say necessarily nitpicky, because I think there are definitely, it's not a perfect game. There are definitely some things that can be criticized. I don't understand why people are getting so up in arms and thinking that it's awful, and saying some of the things that they are. I guess a lot of it is people wanting to be mad that it's getting such great reviews, and people are coming up with all kinds of reasons to be unhappy with the game and to badmouth gaming journalism and reviewers, and it's kind of ridiculous.
The biggest complaint I hear about it is that it's slow.
Yeah, which makes sense to me, but I mean, it's more of a, it's not like an Assassin's Creed game. It's not Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's much more of like a Breath of the Wild type of game.
It's a lifestyle simulator.
Yeah, it very much is.
And, like, is Chapter 1 long and kind of boring? Yeah. I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of the snow.
Yeah, it was a little long.
But once you hit Chapter 2 and the world opens up, I had a blast running around as much as I did and doing shit and breaking people out of jail and just, fishing and well, not fishing because I haven't unlocked fishing yet. Hunting and naming my horse and taking care of my horse and tracking a treasure map to a gold bar to get me $1,000 so I could upgrade the camp. And I was just having a ton of fun, like, exploring the world. And to have people be like, oh, well, it's slow. It's the same criticism that I hear a lot about Breath of the Wild, since you brought that up, is like, oh, well, there's no direction. And there's too much. And it's like, no, San Andreas, there's too much.
San Andreas, there's legitimately too much.
Like, this game, there's a lot. And it's just on the cusp of there being too much. But there's enough different things to do and the world feels alive and like there's shit in it that it makes it interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I would say they're very similar. I think for me, the big difference is that, and this isn't a criticism of Breath of the Wild or Red Dead Redemption. It's just like some of the differences I see. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I think, is probably much bigger, but it's also much more driven around exploration and travel and just kind of seeing what you can find. Red Dead Redemption has that too, but it's just much deeper overall. It's not quite as big of a map. It's just everything is incredibly detailed as far as what you can do and what you will find if you're running around. Like I spend a surprising amount of time playing the game doing absolutely nothing of meaning. Like just running around, like doing some hunting here and there, and wandering around town and seeing who I'll run into, and starting random side quests, and just like having like surprisingly fluid conversations with random people in town and like shopkeepers and stuff. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of depth they infused into this game and what you can do to really feel like you are a part of this world they've created.
Right.
Breath of the Wild does that too. It's just, a slightly different way in terms of giving you a much more wide open world with much less people and just kind of letting you go to see what you can find.
See, what Red Dead 2 reminds me of very much so is The Witcher 3.
I can see that.
Whereas, like, Breath of the Wild reminded me of, like, Minecraft or, what was the shitty space game? No Man's Sky. Or No Man's Sky. Where it's about, like, exploration and figuring out what you could do, whereas Red Dead, like The Witcher 3, has markers, and it's like, all right, you can do a quest here, and you can do a quest here, and you do a quest here, but there's a lot more to do besides those quests, and you run into people and you have fluid conversations. Like, I got into trouble playing Red Dead 2 because I was doing shit where I had to shake some people down for money that they had borrowed. We needed it back. And the one guy you come to, everybody thinks you're robbing him. Well, this one guy thinks you're robbing him. And I chased the dude who thought I was robbing this dude down, and then I tied him up and threw him on the back of my horse, and I was like, oh, I'll take him back to camp and see what happens. And then I had like 30 people on me because they somehow knew I was kidnapping this guy, and it pissed me off. But, it's shit like that makes, like, I can't wait to play more Red Dead. It's a great game. And
go ahead.
It's okay to criticize good games. Like, yeah, it's a little slow, and this is one of the few games that I will say is not for everyone. It's the few Rockstar games that I'll say is not for everyone. If you want to go in and shoot a bunch of people and just, like, have an action-packed, open-world game, play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If you want, like, a meticulously paced, fluid living world to do stuff in, then Red Dead's for you.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next comment. Is just the difference between the two, because, well, just so you guys know, I played Red Dead for about 10 hours the weekend it came out, and I loved every minute of it. Like, it's pretty incredible, and it's so far living up to all of my expectations, if not more so. Red Dead Redemption is like, it's definitely not going to be for everybody, but Red Dead Redemption is like, it's like a Great Gatsby of video games, whereas Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I'm also playing, is like the Twilight of video games. I think that's a great way to compare the two. Like, they're great games, but one is popcorn filler and one has a lot of really meaty depth to it that's just much more fulfilling.
Okay.
So, yeah, and since we haven't talked about this, I can chat briefly on Odyssey. I mean, I played Red Dead Redemption for 10 hours and then moved back to Odyssey. My plan originally was to beat Odyssey really quick over the course of a few weekends so that I could have my plate cleared out for Red Dead Redemption, but Odyssey is so shockingly fucking big. Like, there is so much goddamn shit to do in this game, and there's just so much content in general. It's not to the same level of something like Red Dead, but it is still, there's just, an incredible amount of entertainment. It's like Origins. They took the Origins engine and they blew it up to a much bigger world.
Okay.
And they made some tweaks here and there that some are better, some aren't as good. I'm hesitant to say right now it's a better game just because I love Origins so much. But it is still very good and it's on a very similar plateau. So like one way where it's way better is the combat system, which they've kind of revamped completely. So instead of like Origins where you just had 2 weapons at a time, 2 bows, and then your equipment, and then you had like an overpower, like a stamina meter where when it filled all the way up, you could use that to do like a super attack. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they've actually broken it up now into 4 different slots, or 4 different bars. Well, no, it's 1 bar into 4 notches. And as you grow through the game, you get more notches on the bar. But each one of those notches you can use to do like some kind of special super attack. And so you use your ability points to put them into those different attacks, similar to something like Diablo.
Oh, cool.
And so you would have 4 of them equipped at a time on your character, which you access via the D-pad. So you'd hold L1, and then your quick select thing would come up, and you just press one of the D-pad buttons to do whatever your different skill is. So like, I have one that sets my weapon on fire, which is really useful because the equipment is also super customizable in terms of what kind of stats you want it to boost. So I just boost fire damage. And like, I have another one that does a Spartan kick that throws people like 20 feet, which is super useful when you're fighting people on cliffs and you just completely kick them off and they're dead. I have another one that's like a super dash that just cuts through a huge group of people and sets them all on fire in the process, and like things like that. So that's really cool. And the story is surprisingly good in this game, like the writing in general. It feels very much like, I actually was going to say it does feel like The Witcher in terms of the depth of the side quests and how many are actually available. Like, there's so many side quests dotting the map at any time, and all of them are fully fleshed out with their own characters, or sometimes characters from previous side quests who are moving into these ones. That you could spend like dozens and dozens of hours just doing those and not doing anything else.
Now, is this... I don't mean to cut you off. Is this ancient Rome or ancient Greece?
So this is ancient Greece. Origins, which was obviously not ancient Egypt. It was kind of, classical Egypt, I guess, in 50 BC. This takes place in 450 BC, which is during the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta.
Okay.
That plays into it too. So each region you go through, one of the 2 powers would control it. And you can slowly weaken their control by killing leaders in different camps and by like setting fire to supplies you can find and different things like that. And after you kill enough... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
After you kill enough, you can go ahead and start what's called a conquest battle, which is these massive these massive battles where you're on a field with 100 different other NPCs. And the idea is just to cut down more of the enemy than they cut down of your men. And bosses will actually show up in the middle of the fight, as well as like stronger elite enemies, and you just have to destroy as quickly as possible. They're hectic, but they're hectic and they're fun. They get a little tiring after a while because they're pretty similar, but you can get good rewards for them.
Now, do the gods play any role in the game at all?
So... I want to say yes. I'm not sure. I might be getting into spoiler territory as well as just not getting that far into the story. Well, so here's the thing. I played this game for like 70 or 80 hours, and I'm about to hit the level cap. I'm on like chapter 4 of the story out of 16.
Oh.
Because I have spent the entire game just trying to explore this map because it's so goddamn big.
Like, it's not like God of War level, though.
In what way? In terms
with
of
the gods and stuff. It's not just look, now you're fighting Hercules.
No, it's not like that. Although you do get to fight some of the mythical creatures in some crazy battles.
I've heard.
I fought 2 of them so far. They're very interesting. They're a lot like the god battles at the end of Origins.
Okay.
But So a lot of that stuff is good. The only problem is that the open world activities just really aren't up to par in this one. Like, well, because there was a lot of different stuff you would do in Origins depending on like what the icon was when you were running around in the open. And this they've cut that in half. So you're mostly just like clearing out bandit camps or clearing out military forts or clearing out caves of animals. That's about it. So that's not as interesting, and I think people were kind of mad about that because, well, people were criticizing it because it's not an Assassin's Creed game where you can just cut through the story if you want. Like, you literally do have to keep up with the levels as they grow, and you have to do side content to keep up with it. There's a lot of options in terms of side content and what you can do to keep up with it. Like I said, I'm about to hit the level cap, and I've done almost nothing of the story over the side quests. But I think a lot of people just didn't like that, and it kind of turned them off because it's so different compared to the other Assassin's Creed games. But if you're doing side quests,
that makes me laugh though, because we talked about Spider-Man in our first episode, and a lot of the side activities in Spider-Man are very rinse and repeat, where it's like, beat up 30 guys, clear this place out, swing around here through these blue things, jump off of this, collect the smog here, take a picture of this, do that. And that's the side activities, and nobody really complains about the Spider-Man side activities being kind of one-dimensional, whereas they'll bitch about that here, but it sounds like the side quests in Odyssey are on par with the side quest stuff in Spider-Man, where there's characters that are fleshed out and add more to the actual story.
It is. And they're all very, I won't say they're necessarily the best written, but they're very entertaining and funny. And they have a very dark sense of humor to them that sometimes has some really fucked up but hilarious endings.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and it's on par. It's very similar. I was surprised that no one was giving Spider-Man shit for its open world stuff.
I always call them side activities. There's activities and then there's quests.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to put it. But like, I'm kind of surprised that people were saying that kind of stuff when it's like, have you tried to do any of the side quests? Have you tried to do any of the stuff that's not just open world activities? I don't know. It's been a weird year for very, very critically acclaimed games getting lambasted in the community for reasons I don't entirely understand. And I'm kind of surprised that Spider-Man has gotten so much of a pass on so many things.
There is one game that I can think of this year that I have not heard bad things about in any of my groups. And one game only.
Is it Spider-Man?
It's God of War.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Nobody. Like, I've heard people be like nitpicky, like, oh, the combat's a little hard to get used to, or the story's a little odd at points. But then they'll be like, but the game's fucking amazing and you should all play it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Assassin's Creed, you hear some stuff about, and you hear some stuff about Red Dead 2, and you hear a little bit of stuff about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And you just hear, like, for these big games that have come out, like, I know that there's other big games that have come out, I just can't think of them right now. Those are the big ones that everybody's talking about right now. We're getting to the end of the year, so people are like, oh, Game of the Year, what's going to be Game of the Year? Everybody knows that God of War is going to win Game of the Year from fucking everywhere this year, and it deserves it. But
it does. It really does.
But, it's one of those things where it's like, every year we hear about shit. Now, the thing that I've been getting into talks with people about lately, is 2018 a better year for gaming than 2017?
Ooh, it's close. I don't know if I'd say that it's better. That's a hard question.
Right?
17 was really good. But we've gotten some real surprises this year in terms of game quality and in terms of content.
Well, what can you remember that came out in 2017?
So 2017, I'm trying to think back. The big thing that comes to mind was my top 5 games, which was Horizon Zero Dawn, which was Breath of the Wild, Persona 5, Assassin's Creed Origins, and I want to say there was one more that I'm blanking on. Those are the 4 that come to mind most readily from last year, and I remember loving all of them and spending a lot of time with them. There was a lot of open world games last year.
Right, but I mean, like, P5 was last year, Mass Effect Andromeda was last year.
Oh, yeah, Andromeda. Mario Odyssey was last year.
Mario Odyssey, Destiny 2, Breath of the Wild, Fractured But Whole, Neo, Horizon Zero Dawn. There was a ton of games last year. And really good games. And in 2018, I think is just as good, but I don't know if I'd say it's better. Like, Far Cry 5 was this year, God of War was this year, Detroit Become Human was this year, Spider-Man was this year, Red Dead 2. And that's just, like, stuff that's on, like, PS4 and Xbox. Like, what Nintendo games have come out on the Switch in 2018?
The Switch has had a surprising amount of fantastic indie games, I will say. Not as many big AAA first party or second party or third party games, but a lot of great indies. Celeste was this year, wasn't it?
Celeste was this year. Octopath.
Octopath was really good.
Mario Tennis was this year.
Mario Tennis, I've heard some strange things about. I don't know if it was great when it dropped, but I know they've made some changes since. Celeste was the big one I remember.
The Messenger.
The Messenger, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's going on the list. Hollow Knight was Switch, but I think it originally came out like 2 years ago.
Did it originally come out? I don't know. It's a great game. Owlboy's on the Switch right now, too.
Yeah, no, a lot of great, fantastic indie games from the past like 3 or 4 years have been finding their way to the Switch, which isn't a bad thing.
And they still, and this is the thing with Switch is it's Nintendo. Their shit always comes out like mid to late November, early December, always. So I know like Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is still this year, and I know Smash is on December 9th.
Yes.
So like, there's still Pokemon this year, and there's still Smash. And for console games, I think we've hit everything that's really supposed to be coming out, except for Battlefield is still coming out, I believe, and Darksiders.
When is Darksiders again?
November 27th.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching that one definitely.
So.
Yeah, no, I think all the big games have made it. Call of Cthulhu, the new one, just came out.
Same day as Red Dead.
Yeah, last week. Was it same day as Red Dead? Last week.
Same day as Red Dead.
Oof. That's
it was
rough.
either the same. Well, yeah, last week was Red Dead because it came out on a Friday.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty good game, but I mean, Red Dead's happening right now.
Exactly. And we're for those people that are like, well, where was your episode last week? Me and Kaleb got our times crossed, and Kaleb got busy, and then I got busy, and now we're recording on a Wednesday because tomorrow is mine and Dunn's wedding anniversary.
Oh, that's right.
So, as of Friday, it's been 3 years since I've laid eyes on Kaleb.
Has it been 3 years? Has it been? Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
3 years.
Oh jeez. Ugh. I feel bad.
It's been 3 years, which means that we've been friends for 7 years.
We've been doing this podcast for 7 years.
We've been podcasting together for like 6 years.
Yeah.
But we've been friends for like 7 years now.
Jesus. Oh man.
Yeah, feel old, motherfucker. Feel old.
It's been a lot of games. It's been a lot of games since Bioshock Infinite. Spoiled
Yeah.
cast.
Yep. It's been a lot of games since Flip.
Yeah. Fucking Flip. Flip is a person who was on the cast a very, very, very long time ago who was not a great person, just for those who are curious. He was a strange man.
He's doing well though, so good on him.
Is he? All right. Well, hopefully we'll get back to a normal week schedule. We also hadn't done this in 6 months,
Yep.
so a bit of a hiccup it shouldn't be surprising.
Oh shit! You know what game I forgot? I'm going through the list of games that are still to come out in 2018.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting about this game because it's not on my radar at all, which is sad because it's one of my favorite franchises, and that's Fallout 76.
Yeah, I know you got to go soon, but really quickly we can chat about it. I have not heard good things about the Fallout 76 beta at all. Have you?
I haven't. I didn't even know there was a beta.
There's a PC beta right now, and I think it's coming to Xbox One and PS4 soon, ahead of the game's official release. But apparently, the jank, the Bethesda jank, is far and away the worst it has ever been in terms of this game. Which I guess shouldn't be surprising that it's a beta, but like at one point a week ago, people were up in arms because there was a glitch where like if you highlighted the game icon on your desktop and you pressed a different button on your keypad besides enter, the entire game and all of your data just deleted.
Oh, that's lovely.
Like that's how bad it is. And I've heard some really mixed things about the game in general, and it just seems really weird. I mean, I hope it turns out good. I'm just not hearing a lot of great things about it right now.
Here's my thing with Fallout 76. I don't want massively multiplayer Fallout. I just don't. Just like I don't want massive multiplayer Elder Scrolls. I want co-op Elder Scrolls. I'll take co-op Fallout, but I don't want like, oh, there's some dudes. The dude's base is over there. Let's go fuck them up. I don't want that in my Fallout or my Elder Scrolls.
I'm not the kind of person who wants to nuke other people's bases.
Exactly. I didn't like Rust. So why would I want to play this? Can I ask I'm looking at this list and I have to ask a question cuz you would know.
Yeah.
What is Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales?
That is a good question. I have not heard that.
Is it an expansion to... Oh, it's a standalone single-player campaign mode for Gwent.
Oh. Yeah. I've heard apparently Gwent is still going strong as a card game.
I still play Gwent.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Is it better than Hearthstone?
Lots of stuff is better than Hearthstone these days.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm out of the loop on the online card games. The fantasy
right
card games.
Right now, the biggest online card game right now is MTG Arena.
Really?
Yes, Magic the Gathering Arena, because you earn. I've never spent money in that game, and I own like every card that I need to own to play some of the better decks that are out there. The only problem is because it's still in beta, you can't play with your friends yet. That's coming with the mid-November, beginning of December update.
Oh, okay.
But if you like Magic the Gathering, you should be playing MTG Arena.
I'm sure a lot of people do. It's a Magic the Gathering where you don't have to pay for all of your cards and all of your decks and all of your card packs. It's just completely digital and it makes it easier.
It's Hearthstone style, so you get gold and you get gems and shit. And gems are their premium currency, but you can earn gems by completing daily quests. And 2 daily quests will give you enough to buy a single pack of cards a day.
Okay.
So like you can buy their premium shit and spend money on this game if you want to, or you can just play it and do their, do your one, like the way I play is I play and I do my daily quest every day. I make sure I do my weekly quest, which always awards you a pack. And then I go buy a pack and then I shut the game down. And that's it. I play.
That's it.
Yep, I play every day just to do my daily quest to get my gems.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah, it's in my opinion the best card game out there right now. The only thing they need is like a dusting system and a way for me to be able to play with to challenge my friends.
Which ideally it sounds like it's coming soon.
It sounds like it.
Okay.
But
that's good.
Who knows?
It's interesting.
I got to try and get Hollow to play that game.
Games in 2018 are so far and away beyond anything I thought they ever would be as a kid and what I was playing as a kid, in terms of the options and in terms of the quality and in terms of what types of games we're playing. It's kind of crazy to think about.
It's you know what really hit me, and when that really really hit me is when Capcom released the Liquor trailer for RE2 Remake.
Oh my god, we haven't talked about all the RE2 stuff that dropped during the summer.
No, we haven't even gotten to talk about the confirmation of RE2 Remake.
Did we? I thought we did because of E3, but there was like the teaser trailer and that was it.
Like we confirmed, which was not this last year, but the year before that's E3. But all the footage and shit came out this past E3.
And we weren't casting at that time because that was already... Okay, yeah.
That's when I was sick as shit.
That's right. And I remember we watched it together.
We did, and we talked about it. We were jizzing all over the place.
Oh my god. Guys, you fucking don't even know. Well, maybe you know. But RE2 looks like the fucking game of the year 2019. Holy god.
And it's coming out in January.
And it's fucking coming out in January. I'm so fucking hyped for it.
I doubt I'll have the money for it, but I'm really hyped for it.
We'll figure it out.
But
oh man,
that was the day. Because for a lot of people out there, a lot of people assume, with good reason, that my favorite game of all time, all the time, is a Zelda game. A Link to the Past is like one of my all-time favorite games, and it sits there. It's at the top. Yeah. It is normally number one. But there is one game that unseats it from number one every once in a while, and that is the original Resident Evil 2. And it's the game... I really credit Resident Evil 2 for getting me into a lot of the stuff that I'm into today. Like, I really like horror, and I really like the survival horror, and I really like... game design and stuff like that, because I was so into Resident Evil 2 that I researched it. It was 2 discs and I stole it from Blockbuster. I loved it so much. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
When you were talking about when you were a kid, you couldn't imagine the shit that we'd be playing and how shit would look and the way that we could play games. Resident Evil 2, a month ago, for the RE2 remake, Capcom released a trailer and gameplay footage of the Lickers. And for those of you that have never played the original Resident Evil 2, there is a scene that sticks out to me to this day where, as Leon S. Kennedy, you're walking down a hallway and there's blood dripping from the ceiling. And as you get to there, a cutscene plays of Leon looking down at the blood, looking up, and it's the first time you've ever seen a Licker in the Resident Evil franchise. And it scared the fucking shit out of me. But to see the Licker in that 3D cutscene, which was top of the line for 96, to then see that the Lickers in the RE2 remake look better and more defined and just creepier than anything you could have imagined in I was like, I'm I'm fucking old, and I can't believe this shit. It's got to be the way that, like, old people look at, like, people that were around for black and white movies. And now, like, 4K ultra high def.
Yeah.
Like, the difference between the two. And it's just crazy to me. It really is. It is really fucking crazy to me. And, Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Looks really good, guys.
You know what doesn't look good?
What?
Fucking PlayStation Classic.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't look good at all, actually. There's like a couple games that look okay, but like they really dropped the ball with that one.
Like, my biggest thing is, why is Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut on there, and why is Twisted Metal 1 on there?
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that too. And a lot of the other games are like decent, but weren't even huge in their day. A lot of the other ones, I was very surprised.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, like the NES Classic and the Super NES Classic, Sony is coming out with a system called the PlayStation Classic. It's a mini PlayStation. You play it on not DualShock controllers, original PlayStation 1 controllers. It's $100. It launches in December, and it comes with 20 games. And those games are, I have a list up, Battle Arena Toshiden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Grand Theft Auto, Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and Wild Arms.
Okay, so it's not as bad as I recall, but it's still not amazing.
Why is Destruction Derby on there? Why is Jumping Flash on there? Rayman isn't even a PlayStation game. It's a Sega Saturn game originally. Why is that there?
I guess because people mostly played it there?
Where's Crash? Where's Spyro? Where's Ape Escape?
They can't do that because they have to sell the remakes. They can't let you play those ones anymore. I was gonna say, how come no like Mega Man games? But then I realized because they want you to buy the collections. But like Mega Man 8 would have been amazing. But yeah, well, so like why GTA 1? Nobody remembers GTA 1 fondly. It was the second one that was like a decent game. Well, I mean, I loved it, but it was pretty good, and then the third one was amazing. Like no one remembers the first one.
Okay. Now, this is what bugs me the most, is the PlayStation Classic in Japan is getting Arc the Lad 2, Armored Core, Gradius Gaiden, Psy, Saga Frontier, G Darius, and fucking Parasite Eve.
I want to play Parasite Eve.
Like,
that's all kinds of fucked, though.
Like, it's like, oh, we get Cool Borders 2 because those games are different. What we get instead are Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Grand Theft Auto, Oddworld, Rayman, Siphon Filter, Rainbow Six, and Twisted Metal. But I'd rather play Arc the Lad 2 than Destruction Derby.
Yeah, or Intelligent Cube, which I think was a good game, but I haven't heard that game's name in like 10 years.
You know, like, my biggest thing was there was no Spyro.
Yeah.
For those youngins out there, the original PlayStation, back in the day, there was which is like really the pinnacle of the console wars. PlayStation commercials would have a guy in a giant Crash Bandicoot suit standing outside of like Nintendo headquarters in Washington with a bullhorn yelling stuff at them.
Yeah. I remember that back in the day.
And those were like, Crash Bandicoot was the face of Sony, kind of the way like some of you probably remember Kevin Butler being the face of Sony.
Was that was the PS3 era, right?
Yeah, he was the CEO.
President.
Yeah, he was the CEO. who got fired because he was in a tire commercial where they were giving away a Nintendo Wii U.
Wait, was he really?
Yep, they considered it part of they considered it a breach of his non-compete clause.
Oh wow! All right.
He was in a Firestone commercial, and Firestone was giving away Wii U's to people that bought Firestone tires.
Oh,
And that's
rough.
mentioned in the ad, so Kevin Butler got fired. Now we don't have any spokespeople. Now we get like, oh, here's a live action of all the games that are coming out or out right now for Sony. I've been watching a lot of Hulu. I've seen the goddamn real life video game commercial, PlayStation commercial, like 30 times.
Oh jeez. Have you seen the Fallout 76 one?
No, I have not.
The game's not amazing, but they know how to make a hell of a commercial.
Is that the one that plays what the hell's the song?
The Beach Boys. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I have seen it.
and has all the people going questing and getting in firefights in the world, which is it's pretty entertaining, but it's a far cry from the game itself.
You know what Fallout 76 and that commercial would just make me want? I want Fallout 3 and New Vegas on the Switch.
I would as well. I really want an updated version of those games, honestly. I don't know if that's ever going to happen anytime soon, but it would be nice in some form.
Oh, the other thing that people, before we go, we're gonna get out of here soon. We actually have hit our hour.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've heard people bitching about lately is, we were talking about Capcom and the Resident Evil 2 remakes. Well, Capcom has also announced that they're re-releasing Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and Resident Evil Code Veronica, or 4, or 4.
It's Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Remake, and Resident Evil 0
on the on the Nintendo Switch. And people are bitching like, "Oh, way to get more money! Oh, it's our fault that this is happening." And I'm like, why can't people just let other people enjoy things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily like running out the door to go get Resident Evil 4 again, but at the same time, the idea of portable Resident Evil 4 is not a bad one.
I haven't played Resident Evil 4 since GameCube, so I'm down for this. I don't even own Resident Evil 4 anyplace else but GameCube.
Huh, really? You never bought it before or after that?
I've never purchased Resident Evil 4 after that.
I got it on PS3, and I want to say I played it about 4 years ago, and that was the last time, so I've only bought it twice. I wouldn't be against maybe picking it up on Switch just because it's been so long, or even Remake. We never finished Remake on PlayStation 4.
No, we didn't. But see, Remake I've played since.
Okay, I haven't played that Remake all that much.
Whereas Resident Evil 0 hasn't been released any place but GameCube, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
So this is the first time that a lot of people are going to be able to experience Resident Evil 0.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? It might have been ported to PS4 a year or two ago. But still, I mean...
Was it?
I think I'm pretty sure it was. I don't think it was... It wasn't, necessarily... I think it was slightly up-resed, but not, totally remade or anything like that.
Okay,
but yeah.
I'm sorry. It came out on GameCube, it came out on the Wii, and it came out on Xbox, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Windows on January 19th, 2016.
Okay. That's right. They realized people would buy their games again if they just remade them because they were struggling to figure out what to do as a company.
Right.
It was a dark time for Capcom.
But Zero's coming to Switch, which makes me happy.
Yeah.
I haven't played that game since GameCube, and in all honesty, it's one of my favorite Resident Evil games.
Resident Evil Zero.
I love Resident Evil Zero.
It's a good game. I haven't touched it since GameCube.
Like, either have I, but like it's Billy, right? Billy?
Billy, yeah, who
Yeah.
disappeared off the map completely after that game. Same with Rebecca.
Well, remember that this is a prequel to Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
So Rebecca we see again in Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, we do.
And then she falls off the face of the earth.
Man, she's never coming back, which is sad because I feel like she was a character they could have done things with. But it's nice to see them again, even if it's just a port.
Like, that's the thing. Like, Billy just kind of walks away at the end of Resident Evil 0, and we have no idea what... He does not make it to Raccoon City. We know that.
Yeah.
Rebecca goes to the mansion. But
Rebecca goes to the mansion and gets stuck.
No, she's in the save room when you find her with Chris.
Well, yeah, she's holed up in the room until Chris finds her. But yeah.
And then she escapes on the helicopter in the best ending of Resident Evil 1.
They brought back fucking Sherry Birkin, and they couldn't bring back Rebecca Chambers. Just let that sink in.
I don't even think they've mentioned Rebecca Chambers in anything else.
No, she's
like,
not.
I mean, even in the movies or anything. Like,
no. Well, she might have been in one of the movies. They pulled in all kinds of. Do you really like all 5 or 6 of them?
I'm talking about like the animated ones that follow.
Oh. Okay. No, she didn't come back in those either. I think she came back in the live action ones at one point, but they did all kinds of funky, weird shit with the characters in those ones.
She's in Resident Evil 5?
Is she? I'm pretty sure she wasn't. Maybe as a character in, like, the battle mode. That's news to me.
Yep, she's a star of Resident Evil. She's in The Umbrella Chronicles.
Oh, she is in Umbrella Chronicles, in the retread of Zero.
Uh-huh.
I do remember that. Those are good games. Umbrella and Darkseid.
She's a playable character in Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition in the minigame mode Mercenaries Reunion.
Yeah.
So we know that she survives the events of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. She definitely does. You know what came out at the beginning of this year, actually, that I just remembered that feels like a million years ago, but which is definitely this year, and which some people are still saying is Game of the Year?
What's that?
Monster Hunter World.
Oh, that game did come out at the beginning of this.
It did. It was like January 27th. Random side note.
I'm sorry, but Billy Cohen, I'm on Wikipedia. Billy Cohen, who is the other protagonist of Resident Evil 0, doesn't even have his own Wikipedia page.
Does he have one even in, like, the Resident Evil wiki?
What you do, if you click on Billy Cohen, it takes you to the Resident Evil characters page.
He doesn't get his own page. He's not important enough.
His shit is shorter than Clancy Jarvis.
Who is Clancy Jarvis?
He's from Resident Evil 7. He's the dude you play in the beginning hour.
Oh, the guy who dies super hard and was in the demo?
Yeah.
That's sad. Pouring out for Billy Cohen, guys. He's not coming back.
No. Fucking Ethan Winters has a much longer fucking thing than him.
Ethan Winters, who was a pretty decent protagonist, but whose face we never actually saw.
We see it a little bit. It's reflected in the ground at the very end of the game.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. Right up next to new Chris Redfield.
Yeah.
Who for some reason has a different face than old Chris Redfield, but we have been told is the same Redfield.
It's the same Chris Redfield. I never played the DLC for 7, so
I
own it.
Do you really? I saw. I watched an LP of it. I watched the Super Best Friends play through it. It's pretty entertaining, but End of Zoe is way more interesting. It's where you get to play as a hobo who Jimmy rigs weapons together and at the end of it, you get literally a fucking power suit that lets you super punch everything. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen in terms of a Resident Evil game, and that's saying something. But the Chris Redfield one's okay.
I don't know. Well, that's the thing with me is I buy a lot of DLC and never play it.
Oh, really?
Like, I have the DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn and I've never touched it.
You never touched Frozen Wilds?
Never touched Frozen Wilds.
Oh, that's a fucking good DLC if there's ever good DLC.
But
I
played through half of Blood and Wine.
Oh my god, Blood and Wine's so fucking good too. Best DLC to ever come out 2 years after a game was released.
You know, like, I own. Is there Bloodborne DLC?
They're the Old Hunters.
I own it. I've never played it.
I thought you played through the Old Hunters at one point.
I don't think so.
I thought we were texting about it at one point when you were. That's where you're in the weird fucking dream world where there's all the hunters that have been corrupted and you're constantly they're constantly attacking you.
Nope. I entered it. I was gonna play it and then I didn't.
Oh, okay. That DLC's fucking hard, but it's good. You didn't fight the Child of Kos?
Nope.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
I own it because I need to. Wait. Maybe I did play. Is he the one that you fight on the beach?
He's the one you fight on the beach that has the afterbirth. He swings at you like a fucking weapon.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I did play that.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yes.
It's fun though.
Because I need one more umbilical cord so that I can finally beat that game.
That's right. You need to get those umbilical cords.
I need one fucking umbilical cord.
It's the best game collectible.
So that I can eat it and beat the game.
You can eat it and get the best ending.
I've never beaten fucking Bloodborne proper because I never found that last umbilical cord.
Yeah, that is disappointing. It is. Man, it's almost time for me to play some kind of Soulsborne again. I'm debating what I should go for.
You should play Dark Souls 1 on the Switch.
You know, I thought about that. It's also apparently not really remastered on the Switch. I think it's just the PC version ported, which is why I was wondering if I wanted to get it on PS4. But I don't fucking have the time to play that on the PS4. Not with Red Dead and Odyssey.
That's my thing, is like right now I have 2 more games that I want to buy this year that I'm not sure if we're gonna have the money for. Like I want Smash and I want Darksiders 3. And after that, like, there's nothing until Resident Evil 2. Like,
that's right.
Like, there's a lot of games coming out early next year. But it's stuff that I can wait on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Besides Resident Evil, I'm pretty excited for Devil May Cry. I don't know if I'm gonna get it the day one, but I am curious to see how it turns out.
Like, in all honesty, is like Resident Evil 2 is the end of January. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 games the end of January. I forgot that Kingdom Hearts was the end of January. I thought that wasn't until March.
Oh, that's right. How are you going to split your time between Kingdom Hearts and Resident Evil 2?
I don't know.
Are you going to crash through Resident Evil 2 in a weekend and then spend like a couple months trying to get through Kingdom Hearts? Because that game's going to be huge.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that.
It's okay. It's a problem for another day.
It is a problem for another day. It is not a problem for today.
No.
It is right now. It's will I have a PS3, a PS4 to play Resident Evil 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Womp womp.
All right, guys. We've been going now for over an hour.
Yeah.
It's time for us to wrap up. If you guys want to get in touch with us, remember you can send us an email to podcast@gamingdeath.com. Ask us questions, show us some love. There may be a new feed coming at some point. Just let everybody know that there may be a new RSS feed coming. We'll still upload the show. I will continue to upload the show on the Gaming Death feed. for at least a month or two, but I'll let you guys know, like, okay, guys, this is the last episode. This is the death of the Gaming Death feed. This is the death of Gaming Death. Everything will now be on this GDX feed, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm just letting you guys know now that there may be a new feed coming. Don't worry. If you come in one day to look at the Gaming Death podcast and you realize that now your feed says GDX, you'll know why. But we will be back next week.
Yes.
I'm not going to say same bat time, same bat channel, because who knows? We could record next Tuesday or next Thursday. It's Wednesday today. But that's going to do it for tonight. I'm Chris.
I'm Kyle. Kaleb.
Kyle. No Kyle. There is no Kyle.
No more Kyle.
There's
Not
no
anymore?
Kyle.
Okay, it's just Kaleb. I'm Kaleb, I guess.
Because people get you confused and want to know where Kyle is when I say, hi, welcome to... And they're like, people will honestly be like, I can't tell the difference between Kyle and Kaleb. And I have to send an email back like, oh, they're the same person.
Yeah, it's a long story, but Kyle is an odd nickname of mine.
But I
guess it's dead now.
It's dead. It's like Peter Molyneux, who starved to death under my bed, and Fish Library. It's dead. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.